It's so frustrating, guys, you have no idea. Okay, Richard is here. Okay, coucou. Let's see. I'm inviting you, Richard. You should see it. I hope this time you can accept. Yes,
Very.
we managed.
Yeah.
You are online. Oh my God, that was a challenge, but it's okay. We've made it.
All
So,
right.
I want to repeat what I was saying the first time, because now this is a new video. To all the people that are connected, please, if you want to know about me better, you're gonna listen to this live with Richard, because spirituality is part of my life now since I am 18 years old, so more than 16 years. And Richard is, I would say, I say to my boyfriend, he's the real deal. And by the way, I just wanted to mention how I got to know you, Richard, is via somebody very precious to me, a mentor for me, a guide, somebody that guided me since I am 17 years old. He said to me a few years ago, I know you want to now start to do some counseling sessions, and I suggest you buy the books of Richard Moss. And he said it's going to help you a lot to just go deeper into the work, and also pass on some tools to the people. And he said, take your time, because it's quite heavy, and you need to be already initiated to read this kind of book. So he said, it's okay, you have done enough work to understand now what he's saying. But it's true, I take my time to read it, and I would say it's like a meditation when I read your book. I'm very, very slow reader, but yeah, it's a meditation. I wanted to say also to all the people that are listening, I want you to let yourself rocked by Richard's aura and his voice and his presence. I wanted to say that before you are online, Richard, but yeah, it's a lot that for me. When I listen to you in some other interviews, I simply watch you, and it helps me to be present. So
Well, thank you.
yes, and I actually use your words in some of my sessions with my clients. I quote you in my videos as well. So thank you for your teaching. And thank you for taking the time to be here to try with Instagram and all. I know it's not your thing, but I'm really happy.
I love to learn, and it may not have been my thing until about an hour ago, and now, but we're here. So it always satisfies me to approach something something unfamiliar, and then find my way.
Yes, exactly.
And
can you check your connection? And please, people, can you say if you hear correctly? Because for me, it was cutting a little bit. I don't know if your connection is really good. Are you on Wi-Fi or?
You know what? I can get. Would you like me to get ear things and maybe?
No, I don't think
I am on Wi-Fi.
Okay. No, it should be okay. If people can't hear anything, you just say something. So I wanted to ask you, Richard, for the very first question. I mean, I had a few people asking me some questions for you, and I tried to summarize in order to satisfy everybody's curiosity. But I wanted to ask you, what exactly triggered this journey for you into your inner self, and how long ago? Because I know you were studying medicine, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, and what made you start this journey, and also would you say that if one wanted to be happy, is this the only way?
Okay. Well, what I do believe that within every person there is a, let's say, a spark, an essential luminosity, and it's always calling to it. And we listen as best we can. So I can sense now, looking back at my life, I was called very, very young, very early. I mean, I think even wanting to do medicine was a form of service. And I did medicine. I left because something inside of me woke up. You know, there's different terms for this. People can talk about the Kundalini awakening. Over 45 years ago, a number of sequences over the next number of months basically changed. And from that point on, I knew I was very, as a person, ego, that I very new. Something I was compelled to try to understand by expressing it.
Sorry, Richard, I have to cut you because your connection is not good. I can barely hear every other word that you say. Can
Is
you?
Is that true now? Would we like? I mean, if we switch to my computer, that might be better, but I'm not sure.
I don't know. Are you on Wi-Fi?
Yes.
Do you have 4G where you are or 5G? 5G.
Oh, I have. I live in the country. You know what? I can move closer to the Wi-Fi. Let's just see if that makes a difference.
Yeah, move to another room. Yeah.
I mean, usually everything I do is right for that position, and there's never a problem. But let me see. This will be tricky because I will have to hold my phone.
If you just put it.
Tell me, are you hearing me well enough now?
I think it's better. Yeah, I think it's much better.
All right, I'm going to play around with seeing if I can figure out a way for this phone to be held.
Thank you. Yeah, and the people are saying it's better if you get closer to the Wi-Fi. Yeah.
Is that much better now?
Yes, I think it's much better. So you can continue what you were saying. You say you get woke during your learning in medicine.
Yes, it was like night and day in certain regards. And so I've written about that in all of my books. I allude to it, but it's impossible to actually describe it. So I've spent my life, in a sense, translating from that understanding, first of all, by living and transforming myself. So there is a thing called enlightenment or realization. But that, even if, so that happened, but at the same time, the ego self is, it doesn't just go away. It needs to be transformed. And the path for that has always been what I call conscious relationship. That is, you said something about being happy. Is this the only way? I've never had any interest in being happy. I just get happier and happier. And the reason for that is, in a certain sense, any place where my body starts to contract or react, and it's that fast, it's in an instant, I quickly look, and immediately I see either I can understand my thinking is off, or I'm not quite listening to a deeper reality and I need to slow down. So in a sense, I become a student. I've been a disciple of, well, a disciple of love, but the only way you can really be a disciple of love is to recognize when you close your heart. And the two basic things that always close our hearts are some form of self-importance, self-justification, self-involvement. And everybody has some of that. But whenever there's also fear, right, then that gets very, very negative, very dark. And so I hear the sound changing, but is it okay? Because
Yes, it's
sometimes,
okay. I'm just so sorry. I am on the motorway and
yeah,
sometimes,
because I hear a car going by, but you know
yeah,
what?
it's actually a truck,
What
but
I
it's
love about
okay.
what I like about this is that it's life, right? This is life. This is what happens in life.
Yeah, I was
You know,
expecting to be somewhere really quiet and under a tree, but I am under a tree.
oh
It's
yes, me, I was
just
going to have my hair done and my nails and have my perfect microphone in place.
my hair not done and my nails either, so it's okay.
I don't have much hair to have done, but it's good to be playful.
Yeah,
So no, I haven't had any interest in being happy. I've had an interest in learning to love moment by moment with every breath, and particularly with people, and especially at this stage of my life with my wife, Kathy. As we say, we're the only people we get naked with.
yeah.
And when you take that deeper step, right? Really take that deeper step, and you're not in a transaction. Do I love her? Yes, I love her. Does she love me? You know, and how? But when you're in a third, which is, we believe our relationship. I believe all relationships. You and I having this conversation.
Yeah.
The people who are listening to us, everyone is wanting or searching for that deeper harmony that is the spiritual source of who we all are. And now we get very, very lost, and that's a different topic, how we get lost. But with my wife, we see our relationship as a path. Our relationship wants to lead us closer to love, to closer to, she'll say God or the divine. People have trouble with those words. So in a sense, we are loving love with each other. Okay. And that means anything that, it means that if I want to say something to her that might be difficult, I say, how does the relationship that's leading us to love want me to say this? And then I have to get quiet and listen. So what does the relationship want? What does spirit want? What does consciousness want in this moment with this person? Doing the dishes, driving the car in traffic, trying to figure out Instagram with only minutes to go. You know, ooh, a big bird just whacked the, oh, but it's okay. Oh, it's a
Oh,
big
I
one.
thought it was Cathy.
And no, Kathy's not here at the moment.
Okay.
We'll be together when we get to Europe. It's so
Yeah.
once you say yes to this deeper purpose of your life, from that point on, you become a disciple of whatever says no. And fear always says no. And the ego is a structure we all develop by 8, 9 years old. And the very essence of it is it resists reality. It resists being in the present moment, right? But the only place love actually happens is in the present moment. The only place truth and can be known is in the present moment.
Would
And,
you to come back a little bit to my previous question? I talk about happiness because it's just a word, but in my point of view, most of us all we want is to feel peace, to feel happy, to just feel like life is worth living. And I know I just wonder what I mean. For you, you had this spark, like you say, and I had the same. Do you think everybody should have this spark or wait to feel this call to start searching and look inside, or do you think we should force ourselves a little bit and then maybe we find a taste in doing that?
well, just watching your expression and how you're listening in yourself. Yes, you were called. Yes, I was called. And many, many are. And it's also hard work. It's very, you know, you really have to decide to show up with your heart in a world that requires your head or performance, and all kinds of performance. There are people all over the world that don't fundamentally trust anything or anyone.
It's
They're
true.
always they're always maneuvering. They're always a little paranoid. They're always trying to get an advantage. Well, that's a dream state, and that always kills love. You can't have love in that, but you can have very temporary happiness, because every time you get something you want or you win the game, you feel happy. But
Yeah,
that,
it's a
but
contentment at the moment. Yeah, it's yeah.
so but basically, there's a perpetual dissatisfaction in people, and they're chasing satisfaction because that's the nature of the ego that resists. It doesn't want to be in the present moment. And in the present moment, there might be real sorrow, but they don't want to feel that. In the present moment, there might be real deep, almost like the rage of a helpless child because it can't get its parents to actually see it or respond to it. You know, but people don't want to feel that. And of course, fear.
Yeah.
Fear, I understand fear is a great God, and nobody, not me, not Buddha, ever defeats fear at its own level. But you see, fear is derivative. Fear is not the source. If you want to use that expression, that there are greater gods. Love is a greater God. And for people who are on a kind of path of non-duality, which, certainly was what I awakened to, you want to go into non-duality, you go deeper and deeper into intimacy with everyone, every feeling, every sensation. Because if you're going to close your heart to someone, it's because you're afraid. If you're going to start manipulating, it's because you feel unsafe. You think, wow, I'm giving too much. How might I get it back? That kind of transaction.
Yeah.
So it's hard work. It's also my wife likes to say, Kathy likes to say, it's the greatest game in town. It's all about intimacy. That's the bottom line.
Yes, that's where I want to go as well in our conversation. Relationship. What roles what role does our partner have in this journey? What role relationship has, and can we use it for growing? And I know you are, obviously you're going to say yes, but can you talk about that? Because I noticed for me, I noticed that our partners are a very big mirror of ourselves, and relationship can be very, very difficult, but at the same time very transformative if we listen.
Relationship is where the rubber meets the road between spirituality and action, between truth and action. That's, it's the expression rubber meets the road might not easily be translated into French, but it's where the power of the tires make the car go forward, and that image.
Yeah.
So you get there slowly but surely. So some people just, first of all, there was enormous suffering in my life. There was an enormous journey with fear. Then I began to understand the difference between satisfaction and dissatisfaction. And I stopped chasing satisfaction because I understood, there's a sensation here that's dissatisfied. And then I started to become disciples of every sensation: fear, loneliness, dissatisfaction, wanting, being in a hurry. And I made myself a disciple of a basic assumption: the nature of reality is profoundly beautiful.
For the people that don't understand disciple, can you explain what do you mean by that? Disciple of an emotion.
Well, people understand the word discipline. You need
Yes.
a discipline to achieve anything, pretty much. To be a disciple is to be, a student of a discipline. To be a disciple, you can be a disciple of a guru, you can be a disciple of a mentor, You can be a disciple of literature and get a doctorate in literature, or write novels and write plays. But when you want to be a disciple of love, you are going to basically say, okay, now that means I want to wake up whenever I'm not loving. And so now you're right there, and you're in a relationship, and there's fear, there's pain, there's distrust, right? Well, nobody can make you safe. Nobody, no man saves you, no woman saves you, no amount of money saves you, no job saves you. You land a part that makes you a movie, that doesn't save you. You what saves you is the relationship to the things that you don't know how to say yes to. And that's what you become a disciple of. You become a disciple of yes. And you realize more and more how you are a no. You're a no if you feel unsafe. You're a no if he gives you a funny expression, or she does. You're a no if you don't get what you want. You're a no because the car isn't working the way you want it to. I mean, and you begin to, and at that moment, all you have to do is realize there's no less truth in this moment, no less love in this moment, no matter where you are, and just relax.
I love that
Now,
when you say a disciple of yes, and I think it's very, very good image, because I talked to somebody a few days ago. He was saying, how can I get rid of my fear? And I was saying, well, you gotta see it and accept it first. And he was saying, yeah, but how? I don't understand. And he says, yes, okay, I see it, I accept it. He was saying, and I said, you say it, but inside there is a no, you reject it. And I remember what you said about yes, and I said to him, just say yes to it like if it's a friend, like you want it. And I was like, oh.
Yeah,
oh.
yeah, exactly. To heal, you must feel. So to say yes to fear, you must feel it. But there is a difference. When a person collapses into fear, they don't even realize they have, so they become angry.
Yeah.
Or they become depressive, or they become important and grandiose. But they're basically fear is underneath it. People just squander their lives chasing for success. But what they're really doing is they're trying to get something from the outside that'll protect them from fear. You have to feel it. And it's in the act of feeling it that fear transforms us. It transforms you. You can't say yes to fear and not mean it. But the moment you mean it, you're not the you imagine yourself. You're not a you even know. The other day I was talking to a private client who had just started developing vaginal bleeding, and had gone to see the doctor and all kinds, and she was suddenly in deep fear. And so I immediately said, okay, fear is always the ally of truth and love. Let's go into the fear. And I started guiding her to feel it. But because I was there, and because she too has done a lot of work, she didn't collapse into the fear. The simple truth is, you have to touch fear 10,000 times before the way you touch it has made you a different person. Fear won't go away. You might as well have this solid piece of glass. Fear is not going away. You can't get rid of it. Fear is it's an archetype. Every creature, recognizes something that's threatening and fights or runs away or hides or goes numb. You don't. What happens is every one of these feelings we don't want is saying the you that doesn't want it is the problem.
Yeah.
The you that doesn't know how to feel the fear is the problem. And I will keep coming back in every relationship, with health, with business dealings, with success, failure, with glamour. I'll come back as insecurity. I'll come back as feeling unsafe. I'll come back until you are a space that can hold me. And that you is a transformed person. Fear, if you learn how to touch it, and you're touching it with your consciousness, right? Everything is relating. You said relationship, you're thinking of two people, or in our day and age, God, it can be three, it can be four, who knows? But it can be that and quite deep, not just superficial.
Yeah.
But my path is two. But the point is that relating, you relate. How you relate to fear determines how fear lives you or controls you. How you relate to sadness determines how sadness controls you or doesn't. You're always relating. How you relate to your sense of unsafety. Right? So the word vulnerable means you feel unsafe, you feel fear, but you act lovingly. You act with openness. And gradually what happens is you transform this ego, this thing that's forever resisting reality. It transforms. That's when there's joy, and happiness is transient, but joy starts to settle in you and your body. I'm 75. My body has never been more sublime, more wondrously sublime. It doesn't, whether it's eating food, whether it's touching, whether it's just looking at your expression on your face right now, Carolyn, Anja, woo. It's all about intimacy. That's the bottom line. Intimacy with yourself. But that means you have to come at yourself gently, gently. You practice curiosity and gentleness. Curiosity because you don't know really. Yes, because you say fear, and you imagine you felt it thousands of times. In fact, take away that word. You've never felt it before. Treat it as if it's the first time. Teach yourself how to tremble in it, how to relate to fear, to go into the fear, feel the fear, because the part of you that's doing that is more than the fear.
Yes.
You can never defeat your aware consciousness. It's bigger than the terrors of the world. It's bigger than all the nightmares of the world, but you need to cultivate it. And sometimes it awakens all at once, but your ego still is nasty, controlling, wanting to feel safe. Me, this is 45 years of slowly digesting my ego. And the things that have helped me digest it are relationships that didn't work and were very painful, fear in every form that it comes. There isn't a feeling now that I'm not willing to feel. I mean, instantly. I just turn immediately to that sense. And I'm breathing. The body is breathing while we have it. And it's, for people to realize it, 75 and intimacy in the sense of sexual intimacy is more glorious than it's ever been. Tasting, looking, walking, working. I was outside today for a solid hour and a half, all covered up to keep ticks off and poison ivy, and sweating my ass off. And I never felt that was anything but just the pure fun of doing that. People are always saying, I have to. You're just doing it, so don't have to, And after a while, you'll just be glad that you're doing what you're doing. And then after a while, you won't be so self-important, so you won't close your heart. But it's a life path. The Buddha didn't arrive. The myth of the Buddha is that he achieved ultimate enlightenment. But the man who achieved ultimate enlightenment also refused to have women in the Sangha for years. And then when he finally invited them, there were literal formal proscriptions. Like, for example, if a mature woman who'd been on the path for years walked into the Sangha, nobody stood up. But if an 8-year-old acolyte male walked into the Sangha, every woman had to stand up. Nuts. I mean, this is actual fact. I'm not making it up. You can read, you
Yeah,
can
yeah, I'm
the
not
text.
surprised at all. Yeah.
No, no. But the point is, what are we unconscious of now? And at a time where we see what you're doing now, what we're doing together on this form of social media is lifting people up. What if we were talking conspiracy theories? What if we were telling people, do your own research, but the only place you look is in the crazy ravings of other people on the internet?
Yeah.
You know, you can find doctors that'll tell you don't do this and do this, but you won't find peer-reviewed papers and truly credible scientists refuting science.
It's
You find
true. You can
idiots.
find anything and everything.
Well, and more now. So there's a good use of a communication tool like that. And you have to be so cautious. So cautious about how do you know something's true or not? Well, you can't ultimately know that, but you can know, is it closing my heart to love? And if it is, don't listen. If it makes you angry and self-righteous and it gives you a crowd of other people to be angry and self-righteous with, don't listen. Don't borrow your identity from the crowd. You know? Whoa.
And
Whoa.
would you say that the more you know, the less you know?
Of course. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
It's a joy to look out at things and realize I see it, I feel it, and I have no idea. The wonderment of it.
And would you also say that the more or the less you know and the more you are on this journey of evolution, the more life hits you hard, or is there no rules?
No, the more delicious life is. There's heartbreak. There's heartbreak because people bring about for themselves and others so much terrible suffering. There's heartbreak because apparently we need to suffer more. And unfortunately, the suffering always falls on the people that have the least resources to adapt to it the most. And the suffering falls on the creatures that in the biosphere that can't adapt to, for example, global warming, fast, the extinction, things like that. But life on this planet has been around a long, long time, and it's going to continue. So, yes, even if I run headlong into a pattern inside of myself that's so limiting, I'm still just, why not? Why not another little corner of unconscious? Why not? And
Yeah.
how many times can you just apologize to your soul and say, next time I'll do a little bit better?
Yeah. Yeah, we have to be humble. I think humility is maybe the most important. Curiosity, humility. Be like a child that discovers everything at any instant.
Yes.
I guess. Well, I can't keep you for too long, but I would like to know, could you share with the people listening what's your most, I would say, simplest and more powerful tool to go back into the present and therefore, yeah, be more at peace? Would you have a trick for people?
It's not a trick, but it's a practice.
Yeah, that's what I think as
You're,
well.
while we're alive, we breathe. We've breathed when we were miserable, when we were in a panic, when we were joyous, when we were in love, when we were brokenhearted. We were always breathing. And you can say the breath is this friend in the present moment that will never abandon you until it's time for you to leave, which we all do. So turn your awareness to your breathing and use it as an anchor. Come back to the present moment, and with each breath, just relax. And as my wife likes to say, when in doubt, relax, and then relax some more. And The simple truth is, if you're getting angry, take a deep breath, follow your breath, come back down into your body, and underneath it, you'll see that maybe there's fear or unsafety or sadness. So feel the fear, feel the sadness, feel it, and then ask, how would love want me to respond to this person now? How would love want me to treat myself now? And just breathe and relax. Breathe and relax. We have this notion you have to work hard and beat yourself up to achieve. There's a time in life to learn strong determination, to learn intentionality. But when you can be intentional and relaxed, that's called flow.
Flow, yeah, somebody mentioned that to me. One of my followers, he wanted to ask you, how do we access this flow when we have so many disturbances around us? And that's it. I like to use the body sensation. I always say, focus on the body sensation. When you close your eyes, what makes you know that your hand is there? It's the sensation of it. And it's also a good way of coming back here and now through the body, like you say, the feeling.
I think almost everybody knows flows through something: art, dancing, rock climbing, swimming, rowing, athletics, skiing. But when you can start to flow with ordinary life, daily life, that's when there's mastery.
Yeah. Exactly.
Because then any moment you pause, here it is, it's all here, this is it. Yes. And so it's a path, my friends, all of you that are listening. At times it's really hard work. I just saw Jeff Bridges, who's got a new program called The Old Man. It's playing on Hulu, and I've been watching it. It's wonderful. I saw an interview with him 7 months before he started this show. He had been for 5 weeks on death's door. He had cancer. They had neutralized his bone marrow, done a bone marrow transplant, and so he had no immune system, and he got COVID. And for 5 weeks, he was on, and no one could visit him. Everyone was in hazmat, right? And I think maybe his wife could visit him rarely, but also in hazmat suits. But no one else, no children, no grandchildren. But he recovered. And so the interviewer was saying, have you gone through a hard time? He said, yeah, it's been very hard. I was on death's door and just told what I just described. And then she said, you're such an outlier in this world. You've been married for 45 years. How do you do it? And he said, well, the old story, just don't get divorced. And then he said, but that's not easy. There have been lots of bumps on lots of difficult times. But every time you get through it, you're more intimate. And then he said, that's what it's all about, isn't it? Intimacy, isn't it? That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Hallelujah, Jeff Bridges. He's just a few years younger than me.
I would love to talk more about intimacy, because I think this is, like you say, very important, and people sometimes are confused between intimacy and sex, and they don't know exactly what is intimacy, and it's difficult for people to open in a relationship.
I think of sex as what we do to have children. I think of everything else that we do as making love. We make love. You understand? We use it euphemistically. Well, we made love, meaning we had sex. But when you get to be older and you're a male and the erection doesn't want to be regular, do you not have sex? Or you're going to get into the habit over your lifetime of just having good companionship, but you're not interested in. There are disciplines, practices for profound intimacy in a relationship. And one of them is to be able to communicate completely. Everything is expressed, but it's expressed the way the relationship, if it's leading you to intimacy and love, wants it to be expressed, not the way you need to express it, because you need to be understood and you need to make a point.
Very, very true.
So then that and love making, which can be kissing, touching, holding hands, stroking, hugging, cuddling, listening to music together, sharing a glass of wine, cooking for each other. It's intimacy.
Anything, yeah. Be present with each other. Well, thank you very much, Richard. I have to conclude before we get cut, because on Instagram we can only be live during 1 hour, not more. You are doing a seminar in France in August.
Yes.
I really encourage people to join you, contact you, or buy your books. It's wonderful to speak to you. I hope we can do it again. I'm sure people enjoyed as well. Thank you again very, very much. I hope you have a nice Sunday.
My pleasure. Thank you. Thank you, Anja.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.